Max Verstappen produced a stunning recovery for ninth on the grid to beat teammate Sergio Perez to victory as Red Bull's dominance continued at the Miami Grand Prix. A Verstappen error in qualifying saw pole sitter Perez gifted a chance to claim victory that would have given him the World Championship lead, but the Dutchman produced a scintillating drive to win by 5 seconds and extended his advantage to 14 points. Verstappen took just 15 laps to charge into second, and he was able to outpace Perez as the pair drove on opposite strategies, eventually passing the Mexican with 9 laps to go. It was a good race, he said. I stayed out of trouble at the beginning, had a clean race, picked off the cars one by one, and I could stay out really long on a hard tyre. I think there was a difference between me and Checo and a good little battle. Yesterday was a bit of a setback, but today we kept it clean, and winning the race from P9 is also very satisfying, he said. Fernando Alonso, who started second, drove a solid yet lonely race to claim his third place in 5 outings for Aston Martin. George Russell was fourth for Mercedes as they showed improvement in race pace after a disappointing Saturday ahead of Carlos Sainz. Having started 13th after a poor qualifying, Lewis Hamilton also took advantage of the improved W14 to take 6th, completing a late pass on Charles Leclerc. Alpine completed a solid weekend as Pierre Gasly finished 8th, a place ahead of teammate Esteban Ocon, while Kevin Magnussen took the final point for Haas after starting to 4th. Red Bull have now won all 5 of the races in 2023 with 4 1-2s, and Aston Martin second in the constructors with 122 points. Verstappen had made an error on his first flying lap attempt in the final part of qualifying on Saturday before being denied the chance of a second try after the Leclerc crash. Up until that point, he appeared in a league of his own at the Miami International Autodrome, and that returned on Sunday as he produced a fireworks display. Starting from ninth, he was careful to avoid dangers early on, but produced a brilliant double overtake on Magnussen and Leclerc to jump up to 6th. From there on, he eased past Russell, Gasly and Sainz and Alonso and to move into second on lap 15, and was crucially just 4 seconds behind Perez, who failed to open up a more significant advantage as Verstappen made his way through the field. While it was apparent Verstappen was simply quicker than Perez all weekend, the Dutchman appeared to benefit from the team's decision to split strategy. While Perez, along with the rest of the top 7, started on mediums, Verstappen was one of 7 drivers to start the harder compound, leaving the pair to run their 1-2 stop strategies in reverse order. This meant that Perez, who was struggling early on with mediums, pissed on lap 20 to change the hard, vacating the lead. For a long period, the race seemed set for a grandstand finish as the margin remained around 16 seconds, 4 less than the time Verstappen would need to complete his pit stop. The pendulum seemed to be swinging in Perez's favour as he closed inside 14, but an error from the Mexican saw him go off the track at turn 7 opened up the gap once more. This meant Verstappen eventually came in on the 45th circuit of the 57 lap contest, and he was immediately on the tail of Perez with fresh tyres. Perez was powerless to hold off his teammates despite his best effort. Verstappen completed the move in the first corner, lap 48, easing into the distance. A sprint and race double in Perez for Azerbaijan had left the Mexican convinced he could challenge for the title, but Verstappen's performance offered a reminder of who the top dog is at Red Bull. I gave it all, said Perez. I think the first stint was really poor with the graining we had that compromised quite a lot of the race before we had too much of a difference. It was well-deserved win for Max. I think the medium initially was really poor, and that was unexpected. That really compromised our pace, and I also think Max had great pace on the hard tyres, he said. With the battle between Verstappen and Perez understandably seen in show, Alonso's typically composed status snuck under the radar. Early in the race, he appeared to be in a tussle with fellow Spaniard Sainz for third. They were closely matched until Sainz came in on lap 18 in an attempt to pull off an undercut, but the plan was ruined by the fact of lockout that meant he was guilty of breaking the pit lane speed limit and got a 5-second penalty. As it was on the hard tyres they switched to, Alonso had far too much pace and soon eased past Sainz, who undercut had been successful before simply managing his tyres to the end and came home 20 seconds behind Checo. Alonso remained third in the driver's standing, 19th point clear of Hamilton and the nearest challenger to the best of the rest behind Red Bull. The car is amazing and it was a bit of a lonely race today. It's never easy, but it was a lonely race, he said. Everything was fine. We've taken the podium and we go to Wimbledon, Monaco and Barcelona and we hope to keep going. At the beginning of the year, the podium was amazing, but we want more now. For Sainz, it turned out to be another disappointing race, not having the pace to hold off Russell. Mercedes speed advantage over Ferrari would have been emphasised once more as Hamilton passed Leclerc to move up to 6th with 2 laps to go. While Mercedes had been left downcast after poor qualifying, it's Ferrari who leave Miami more disappointed. The new floor they brought appears to not make a significant impact, and that will put huge pressure on the team when they return home to Italy for the Imola Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Hamilton, like Verstappen, began his race on the hard tyres, produced a patient drive to root the wars of being on the medium compound at the end, producing several late passes to minimise damage of qualifying. Imola will also be a significant race for Mercedes while they bring major upgrades to hope close the gap to Red Bull. And after a disastrous weekend in Baku, Alpine were finally able to take advantage of the upgrades they brought to Baku, with Gasly and Ocon point scoring positions, offering some respite for team principal Zafna following heavy criticism from Chief Executive Laurent Rossi. There was no such let-up for McLaren. They were landing Norris 17th and rookie teammate Oscar Piastri 19th as their disappointing campaign continues. Also disappointed to miss out on points was Aston Martin's Lance Stroll, who was unable to recover from qualifying 18th as he finished 12th. If there was shortage of drama in the race with no safety cars, red flags, retirements, the star-studded build-up more than made up for it. Some of the biggest names in the sport flocked to Florida as Miami hosted F1 for the second time after debuting last year, with Roger Federer, Serena Williams and Patrick Mahomes, a few of those in attendance. While tradition may not have loved it, music sessions, LL Cool J's pre-race intros were certainly something different and embraced by thousands in attendance. Formula One continues to search for the right balance between adding new venues and keeping historic circuits on the calendar, but Miami definitely looks established. But yeah, as for F1, a brief update 2 weeks' time for a triple header in Imola, kicking off in Imola with big upgrades expected, and yeah, all eyes on Ferrari's home race. But before I go, let me run you through the classification for this weekend's race. Max Verstappen winning. I mean, what can you say? He really kind of laid down the mark to Checo, though, who's boss there. Impressive drive from him. Perez will be disappointed not to win with Verstappen so far down, I think. Alonso in third. Great drive from him. Aston Martin, really good pace here, so they'll be pleased with that. Mercedes in the race, they have a good race pace. Hamilton maybe even be slightly disappointed not to get Sainz, but good recovery from him and good joy from Russell. Sainz in fifth, Leclerc in seventh. Yeah, I think just a disappointing one for Ferrari. Their qualifying pace isn't too bad, but it's the race pace that's really letting them down. Then you've got the Alpines. It's points, it's lower end points, but that's all you're really going to get. And they were competitive for a long time, so I think they'll be pleased with that. Magnussen, great job from him. He was in pace with Leclerc for a lot of it. So yeah, that's a really good drive from him, I think, and yeah, they'll be delighted with that. Tsunoda gutted for him again, so close to points, not quite making out. Stroll, yeah, I think we saw how class that Aston was in Alonso's hands. So for him to not even get a point, even starting from 18th, I think he will be definitely disappointed with that. And then you've got Valtteri and Bottas in 13th, and yeah, I don't know, disappointing weekend for Alfa Romeo and Albon in 14th. Their teammates all the way down the order. Sargent, I know he was gutted. Yeah, it just seems like they don't have the pace. With Zhou in 16th. Hulkenberg 15th will be disappointed with that as well. Just didn't really have the pace compared to Magnussen all weekend. That'd be disappointing. It's kind of really probably one of the only times we've seen it so far this season. Then you got De Vries in 18th. Yeah, disappointing race for him. Not sure what happened with him and Norris at the start. But yeah, outpaced by Tsunoda quite comfortably again. And then you got the McLarens. Just an awful weekend. We thought McLaren was really going to start improving now, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. And yeah, like I say, a really disappointing weekend for the Woking team. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, next subscribe, and if you want to share for daily F1 news and Scottish channels, greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.